This channel's real, this channel's about documenting, this channel's about talking, having an open opinion. And let's get started. Say whoa, say whoa. Say whoa. Head of a horse, the body of a man. Unidentified flying object. Welcome back to another video. What's up, guys? It's me, Donata Bay, and let's get into like an update. Now, we are talking about the 7-foot tall aliens. Now, I didn't realize that these people were saying that their faces were allegedly being peeled off, right? And then they're suspected to be illegal miners as far as like getting gold and whatever out of the environment. Now, we do know that they said that they were on jetpacks and stuff and they look like Green Goblin. Well, on down in this article, because some of it's repetitive, okay, I just want to share this real quick and then we're going to get into some more information from a guy named Timothy. We'll get into that. So, yeah, so let's read right here. Let's say they appeared to be armored like the Green Goblin, remember, from Spider-Man. Now, now this is somebody talking. I shot one of them twice, and he was injured. He rose and disappeared, hovering. Now, of course, they were very frightened. Now, this is how to describe their shoes. Now, their shoes were round-shaped, right? Which floated. So it's like a hover device, like Green Goblin. They said they float about 1 meter off the ground. Their light is a red light on the heel. It's technology, y'all. No offense, but along with Fleur Bird, I'm going to put in like maybe a quick clip from her video that she actually did today on the 9th talking about this situation. But she also feels that they are the Zionists, aka the Nazis. Okay.
Being either biosynthetic boards or they are people wearing suits that are looking like grays, okay? That are wearing some sort of biotechnology, advanced technology that they could have covenanted from another extraterrestrial group, and they've reverse engineered these suits to be able to do these things. And why this story is important, I can go into why particularly they're doing this. I do know for a fact, this I know for a fact, this is where Timothy couldn't draw this in because he comes from a lunar background. Because lunars are not aware of this unless they're participating in this, a lot of them don't know that brown people with darker skin are being harvested for organs and for their skin. Now, I'm going to talk about something touchy that's happening over in Palestine and Israel, where that also happens there too, okay? This has been happening for a long period of time, y'all. It isn't new. So maybe just, I love that he was able to get this information, but it definitely gives you validation that there's a reason why specific types of beings, the Malachians, which are the Zionists, who have been doing this for the longest time, harvest skins from people. And this also happens over in the Gaza Strip, over in Palestine, both sides, and in Israel, where they take the skins off of the dead people and they harvest it. Okay, this is happening all over. So it's happening in the United States. It's happening in, now we know, Central America. And now we definitely know from verification happens in Israel and Palestine, where skin is being harvested and utilized. This is a fact. Now, why this interview was amazing is because he was able to talk to the villagers about what they were seeing. And this gives us a better bird's eye view of what some of us know already that he wouldn't know. The reason why these villagers and the reason why they were being targeted is because they live in a very remote area where they haven't they don't have tools or ways to protect themselves. So they're basically like wonderful specimens to be harvested because they have kind of like a very remedial type of guns and weaponry. Okay, so Timothy did bring them some. As a way to get the interview, he did bring them some night goggles for heat sensitivity, and he brought them some high volume flashlights and some other things that he brought to them to the village so that they would be able to protect themselves and at least be able to see where these beings were doing these things to the young people whenever they would have an opportunity to get at them.
Hey, real quick, guys. While I'm editing this video, it's like 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11/9/2023. He did a video 7 hours ago. I'm going to throw up a picture so you guys can find his YouTube channel. I'll try to leave the link. I may forget. Go watch the video. He's interviewing the people.
Sitting ducks. Thank you, Capo. Okay. And this also, as Timothy said, he has basically said and verified that these aren't narcos. Most people think these are drug traffickers. These are not. These are not drug traffickers. Their technology is way more advanced than even the narcos. They're not trying to do something. The narcos are not utilizing these people or everything. So he kind of verified that they're not narcos and they're not miners, river miners. River miners are beings that go into the rivers and they mine like the resources, and sometimes they'll go and mess with the locals, especially along the jungle rivers over in the rainforest. They'll mess with the locals, like just to be able to, you know, extract the resources in those areas. So it isn't. He verified that they aren't river miners. Okay, and also the craft, that not only did he see the accounts of the villagers that were in Peru, and again, these people, the villages in San Antonio and Nalta, Peru. There's like little villages. He actually knows the names. I don't want to botch up the names because I can't pronounce them. They were over in those areas in Peru. The beings also saw that when these so-called invasive terrestrials, I'm going to call them invasive terrestrial grays, they would have these crafts that were see-through. Now, remember I told you about Wonder Woman? Remember Wonder Woman? Anybody who watched Wonder Woman back in the days? Remember Wonder Woman's spacecraft was invisible? Okay? It looked invisible. Every time they would see, like one of the beings had saw, one couple of the villagers had denoted that they saw these crafts in the sky and they were the shape of an acorn. That was the shape of the craft, was like an acorn, and it was see-through. Now, so they have some sort of craft that has this cloaking. You know, when I talk about some of the ships have this like gelatinous kind of quality where they have an invisibility quality, but you could see the actual beings inside the craft. You couldn't see them fully. They almost looked like blobs a little bit, but the villagers denoted when they saw the crafts, sometimes they would see it. It was acorn shaped and it was see-through, and you could see two beings sitting down in the craft, and it looked like black kind of like blobs, or he said like a bunch. He said a term in Spanish that meant like a bunch, like sitting there like a lump. Okay. Why does that matter? Because I don't know if you remember, and I could be wrong, but as soon as they said that it looked like an acorn, you know who I thought about, y'all? Remember when the Nazis were working on technology and there was this bell that was found over in Philadelphia that traveled through supposedly time? And we talked about this bell craft that the Nazis had created. What if, when they said acorn, I thought about the bell. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Can you guys kind of, I don't know what your opinion is, but the first thing I thought is that the acorn, the first thing in my mind was like, that's like the Nazis. When the Nazis had done that time traveling bell that was found later in Philadelphia that traveled all the way from World War II, right? I'm just saying, like a bell and an acorn, perceivably, remember, these are people living in a jungle. As soon as I thought about the way that the craft was, I was like, that sounds like the Nazis' bells. Then also, for those who realize, after World War II, many of the Nazis went over into Central and South America. You do know that, right? And this is South America. And this is over in the jungle where many of these beings with their advanced technology definitely would have the ability to have created suits, hoverboards, and ways to be able to cloak themselves and ride. And I mean, you think about it, the Nazis, if they were creating all this technology and they had all this reverse technology, why wouldn't you think that they would have the ability to create suits that were navigating with, self-propelling, feet, little discs? I mean, so it sounds kind of like this sounds like Nazis. And also, listen, y'all, what you perceive as Nazis, I really say are Zionists, okay? Because Nazis and Zionists are one and the same. Why is that my concept? Is because after World War II, and I use what happened in Israel as my beta, my confirmation, is that during World War II, and remember, I had a grandmother who was living. So a lot of this information, a lot of the ways that I perceive things is I get certain information from people who were at that time. My grandmother said it was like a setup over there in Europe, that the so-called, what they perceived to be as Jews, were literally the Nazis who were setting up the people there. So you got to think to yourself, what if there were this group of Nazis that were placating like they were Jews, like one and the same, and they were setting the people up, but really they were the actual Nazis? It happens all the time.
Their heads are long and they wear masks and their eyes are yellowish. Now, of course, the military came in. We can do some more reading on that. I just wanted to keep talking about this a little bit more because this is technology. There are possibly humans behind these suits as well as beings. Now, if you think about the bell that traveled allegedly from World War or whatever that was, I don't know, whatever that was, and it landed in Philadelphia, but it traveled from the back in World War with the Nazis, right? Well, these people also mention seeing a bell. And to me, well, they call it an acorn. But like Fleur Burns says, and I thought, well, they're talking about the bell. So who's to say that these AKA Nazis, AKA Zionists, which are the same people, I believe that too, who's to say that they're not time traveling and they've been around here for a long time? These people could be allegedly humans like us, whatever that means, and they're not aging because they're jumping back and forth through time. Now, I believe that Hitler did not die in the war or wasn't captured. I don't believe none of that. I'm sorry. You guys got to start doing more research on Hitler. All this technology that they were doing back then is the same technology we're seeing now in these small villages and the technology that the USA has as well. Allegedly, we already know that NASA and half of the United States creation that grew in technology and secretism come from the Nazis. If anything, who's not to say that we aren't being ran by them? You see what I'm saying? But anyway, that's a whole nother video. So we're gonna jump on into Timothy's interview that he did. I don't know if I'm gonna use a clip or not, but
that is obviously circus ridiculous. All they did was they talked to villagers, they heard the description of beings that the villagers gave them, and they concocted a story that satisfied those details. In other words, these beings are floating off the ground. The guy kept insisting, sir, I'm telling you, these are extraterrestrials. These are not the village leader. These are not human beings. We shoot at them, they disappear. And so these Navy guys, whoever was in charge of this story, of concocting this cover story, had to account for these details. And you can't just say it was legal miners, because what about the floating off the ground and the in fact, the bulletproof? Okay, well, jetpacks. And they're wearing body armor. Okay. Illegal miners, they're wearing jetpacks, they have body armor. Well, where do they get the money for this? Okay, the cartels. The cartels are backing them. So that explains how they would be able to afford these $400,000 jetpacks, right? So literally, the story was fashioned so that it would conform to the details that these villagers were saying. Now, I have contacts in Peru for a buddy of mine. I have my own contacts in the region, and then I have very, very high military contacts for a buddy of mine here in the United States. And I was talking to him, and he was interfacing with one of our Navy contacts, a good friend of his that Jill and I also met through this individual in the United States. And he's interfacing with him. I said, ask him what he thinks, because this guy, he's a Navy guy. He's extremely well known. He's extremely well connected. And I said, ask him what he thinks about this incident. Does he buy the jetpack miner story? And his reply was, not at all. So look, there is a historical precedent. The miners and cartels have terrorized native tribes, these villagers, because very opposite. You're going to be so noisy and loud, and everybody.
Okay, if it was river miners and the 15-year-old girl got assaulted by them, they're going to take it upon themselves to go and string somebody up.
It's stupid. I don't know if you saw this. Before I forget, I'm going to throw another element of mystery into this story. During this incident, which began in mid-July, right during this incident, previous to the incident, and probably ongoing now, there is ongoing a training exercise in Peru. It's called Resolute Sentinel 23. And I'm going to read from the article. It's Ralph the Government's air and spaceforces.com. Resolute Sentinel 23 is the third edition of
story.
Absolutely.
And the military exercises, which are always happening in Central and South.
All right, peeps. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I know I mashed some things up, cut some things out. I'm just trying to get this information out to you guys. I'm not trying to take people's content, but I need to use some visuals or some sound other than just me rattling sometimes. I like sources. And this guy literally, like I said, while I'm editing this, there's a video up. I'm going to finish watching it because I had to stop and look at it while I was doing this. He's going out there talking to the humans, the people, the ones that are affected. Screw social media, screw whatever the news and government has to say. Yeah, I said it, screw y'all. He's going to the source, the people affected. So y'all please go watch that interview or whatever. I don't even want to call it an interview. Please go watch him help these humans as much as he can get the word out. And I'm going to leave, there's some pictures probably going up right now to get you guys to Flurburn of the video she did today. I pray it's still up. And then I'm going to rethrow another video of Mr. Tim or Timothy A. Alberino. Just go check him out. Like I always say, guys, do not obey. Stay woke. Peace.